we can only protect our nation, country, if we are able to protect and we are able to fight these ideological and intellectual battles, because we found ourselves in the midst of an ideological, intellectual battle. We do not want to tell other countries what they should think of migration, about the gender theory, or, God forbid, about the European superstate. We are on the defensive. We are on the defensive because the globalist progressive elite wants to force their will on us. They want to tell us what to think and what and how to live. Our freedom fight has become important for the Western world because it turned out that they didn't only attack Hungary, they also attacked every other nation of the free world. We are under a virus attack that's been launched against us. And this virus has been developed in progressive liberal laboratories. This virus is attacking the most vulnerable point of the Western world, the nation. This is an anti-nation virus which aims to deconstruct and to pulverize our nations. People without nations' homes will never be free. They can only be homeless, deported here and there, and they'll only be toys of the global elite. Migration, gender, woke are all variants of the same virus. If we have lost all our advantages and it's only the army that is competitive, then this is clearly pushing us in the direction of military conflict, and that is what is happening today. So our odds are not good in the race of civilizations. And what's worst is we only have ourselves to blame. We do not have any other competitor who would have been able to do such destruction. The essence of illegal migration is the destruction of the national community, to deconstruct the cultural basis required for the functioning of the nation state, and instead to create marginalized, atomized, coexisting but otherwise hostile groups which will never create a community and in the end will never constitute a state either. This is the same objective that the woke movement and the gender propaganda has. They want to artificially break up the nation into minorities so that they can create strife among these groups. That is the basis for their power. The third virus variant that is actually threatening Western nations is progressive foreign policy. Progressive foreign policy always leads us into war. In the name of democracy export, it upends countries and then it either exits or actually becomes part of the same chaos that it helped create. I have seen so many so-called color revolutions. It started with some slogan of freedom. It continued with liberal, progressive indoctrination, making better men and women. And at the end, it was chaos, confusion, and shame because of countries left there alone to fend for themselves. I am sure that if President Trump was the president today, there would not be any war in the Ukraine or in Europe. In the recent years, progressives have been again redividing the world to good and bad, Nazis, non-Nazis, democracies, autocracies. Contemporary progressives have always been conducting imperial politics. What they do is the class example, school example of an imperialist example. First, they put nations under diplomatic pressure. They expect them to show their true colors. Are they supporting migration? Are they supporting gender propaganda, relativization of families, sexualization of children? And if they're not, they are the enemy, and the liberal fatwa is declared against them. If you say that gender and LGBTQ movements mean the sexualization of children, you will be accused that you are betraying the Western values. If you say that universities should not be conducting woke ideology training, but instead be seeking the truth, then you are attacking academic freedom. If you say war is not in the interest of the Western world, then you will be accused of pushing Putin's cause. You know what? We are a bit fed up with this here in Budapest, but we cannot take it lightly. Progressives' latest imperial foreign policy objective is to strip EU member states of the right of their own foreign policy. We have to stop them. And this is going to be the greatest battle of the next coming months in Brussels. My dear friends, finally, this virus numbs the brain of nations, weakens their heart, and paralyzes their limbs. It makes living nations into dead communities. The virus attacking the West is being developed further. Here in Europe, Brussels and the progressive elite operating it is such a lab. I believe that there are also such labs in the United States of America, some of them privately owned, NGOs of affluent billionaires, others in the world of progressive party foundations and think tanks. The good news, my dear American friends, is that the Reconquista has begun in Europe. There are enthusing results. The louder the liberals, the faster they lose from their popularity. I know that from experience. Can come the European Parliament election, where finally we can expel the progressive elite and we can begin to drain the Brussels swamp. The only thing you have to put on your flags, your banners before the election, big letters, bold letters, no migration, no gender, no war. People feel that it's their skin that is affected, it's their lives that is affected. They will support a political force that protects the entire nation and that represents their interest. Indeed, the people's will. Democracy itself is one of the greatest weaknesses of the progressive forces. That is where you can catch them. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, there are two ways you can occupy a city. And that's something you know from ancient Rome. You either capture the walls around the city or you capture the shrines in the city. I suggest we start with the shrines, then let's have the walls. We have occupied major big European shrines: Budapest, Warsaw, Rome, Jerusalem. Vienna is not hopeless, but the true shrines of modern democracy, Brussels and Washington, are still on liberal hands. So let's act. Let's do against it. I wish all of us for this the support of the good Lord, perseverant work, and if it so happens that today this is the 4th day of May, may the force be with you.